Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. Before we get started, be sure that you follow me on Instagram, linked down below, Corinne_Blackstone Crafts. I would love to have you follow me over there. I post lots of fun tips, tricks, and hacks, plus some crafts that I don't show here on YouTube. Now in today's video, first I want to say thank you to Teckwrap for sending me their brand new bubbleless mirror vinyl. This stuff is absolutely gorgeous. It comes in a ton of colors. I will link it down below. I absolutely love this product. I tried it on a bunch of different things before filming this video, and I can tell you it is really pretty. One thing that I really love about it is that it's super easy to cut. I honestly cut this just on the vinyl setting and it was super easy, but I do recommend doing some test cuts on your machine to make sure that it will cut on those same settings. I'm just going to put this on a coffee mug and I'm going to layer it so that you can get an idea really of how it looks, how easy it is to apply. It's super easy to weed as well. And I'm going to cut a pretty detailed little star out of it and some pretty thin letters. So I think you're going to get a good look at this product. I'll show you how to design this as well. It was so simple. So let's go ahead and get started.
Whatever we would do, we do it just for fun.
We're going to work with the brand new bubbleless mirror vinyl from Teckwrap, which I love. I've used it a bunch and I've really enjoyed using it. So the first thing that I'm going to do is make sure to change my machine. I was using my Explorer the other day. So if you ever kind of wonder how to change your machine, you just go up to this top and then it gives you a couple options of the different items. So you've Explorer Family, the Joy, the Maker 3, the Explorer 3, or the CRICUT Maker. So I'm going to use just the regular CRICUT Maker on this. Now I'm going to use a design from just Design Space just because it's a little bit easier, and I'll show you how to kind of zhuzh it up and make it your own a little bit. It's going to be really cute. So what I'm going to do is go into images and I'm just going to search for a Christmas tree, and we're going to put this on a mug. And I think I spelled Christmas wrong, so it may not actually work. It helps if you spell things correctly, which, you know, none of us are perfect. So I'm going to search for a Christmas tree, and I'm just going to find kind of a simple one to use for this so that we can kind of change it up a little bit and make it our own. Now you can do whatever tree you want, but I think I'm going to go ahead and use this little guy because I want to make that star a different color. So I'm going to select on my tree and add it to my canvas. And then we're going to change it up a little bit so that we can kind of make it our own. And we're going to use a couple of the colors of the bubbleless mirror vinyl so that you can really see that you can layer it. It's really easy to work with. So this is the tree we're going to use. So what I want to do first is I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my tree. Now you can duplicate it a couple of ways, and with the new updates, people get a little bit confused as to where duplicate is. Duplicate is just this little plus button right here up here at the top. So you can click that to duplicate your tree, or you can right click on it and you can choose duplicate here. Now with this item, I am going to contour out this star. So I want to make sure that I just have the whole tree as a solid piece. So I'm going to go to contour and I'm just going to remove the star just by clicking on it. Now when I close this out, you'll see that this is a solid piece. Now with the second one, I want to get rid of the tree and the outline of the star and just leave the star. So I'm just going to go to contour again, and I'm just going to click the tree to get rid of it. And now you'll see that I'm left with the star. I'm going to go ahead and change the color of my star. I'm just going to make it purple, and I'm just going to kind of place it on the tree. Now you'll notice that it goes behind our tree. That's an easy, simple fix. You can simply right click on the star and just choose bring to front. Go ahead and just place that, and it's just basically kind of just a placeholder so you can see what it looks like. I'm going to change the color of my tree really quick, and I'm just going to change that to a light green. Now we're going to use an offset on this just so that, again, I can show you that layering on this is really easy, it's really fun, and you can make some pretty cool designs. So I'm going to use our offset option. Now the offset option is right here at the top of our screen. So simply click on offset, and you're going to need to give it a moment to kind of work its way through. Sometimes it can be a little bit slow. Today was pretty quick, so if it's ever a little bit slow, just kind of let it sit and it'll eventually show up. Now I'm going to adjust the size of my offset. I don't want a really big one. I don't love a big thick offset, so I'm going to use kind of a thinner offset. All I now have to do once I'm happy with the sizing of my offset is simply click apply. It's going to make our offset black, but we're going to use a darker green for this. So I'm just going to change it to a dark green. Now this is cute all in its own right, but I'm going to put this on a mug and I don't want anyone else using my mug. So I'm going to put my initial on here. So all I simply need to do is click on the text box, and while it's highlighted, you can just simply choose whatever text you want to put in. So I'm just going to put my first initial. Now, obviously, this one's a little bit boring, so let's find a font that we like that we can use. Now, I want it to be script font, and I want it to be kind of girly. So I'm going to go to my system fonts, and I already know which font I want. It is a font called Barbie from Creative Fabrica. I absolutely love this font. Be sure to check it out. It is a really, really pretty font, but it's right here and it's called Barbie. And now you see what a really beautiful, like swirly font this is. It's super pretty. I'll link the font down below so you can find it super easy. Now I'm going to use the kind of rose gold color for this. So I'm just going to change this to pink just so we can kind of get a better idea of what this is going to look like on our mug. Now I'm going to size this down a little bit, and we're just going to kind of play with the sizing just on the C a little, just to kind of see what we want it to look like. Now this is a pretty thin font, and it'll be even thinner once we size the whole design down, but I wanted to do something thinner so that you can see how nicely this bubbleless mirror cuts with the thinner lines. So now that I'm pretty happy with my design, all I want to do is I'm going to select everything, and I need to resize this because this is way too big for a coffee mug. My coffee mug, I can do about 4 inches tall, so I just want to go a little bit smaller than 4 inches. So I think that looks pretty good. So this design is about 3.806 tall and 2.583 wide. So that's a pretty good size for my coffee mug. Now I'm just going to do one side, but you can absolutely do 2 sides to your mug. It's really up to you and how you want to do this. So one of the great things about this vinyl is I already did the test cuts for me, and I found that using the vinyl setting with more pressure worked perfectly, but I always recommend doing a few test cuts before you really commit to doing a full project. That way you don't ruin a bunch of your vinyl and you're not getting really frustrated. Just cut a simple star out. I will link a video below where I show you how I do my test cuts and kind of give you a jumping off point where to start. But I always just like to recommend doing test cuts because everybody's machine is different. Everybody's blades are different. And so depending on, if you've been using your blade a lot or maybe you have a brand new blade, your cut settings might be a little bit different. So now that we're ready to cut this out, all I need to simply do is click Make It. What's great about this product is you don't need to mirror it. You don't need to do anything real special to it. We are just going to cut some off the roll and cut it out. This is a really beautiful product. It's super easy to use. So what you'll see is we kind of have our rose gold, our lighter green, we also have our darker green, and then we have the little tiny purple star. Now that star is itty bitty, and I think you're going to be really impressed with how well it cuts out. It cuts out so nicely, and I've already tested this, so I already know that it'll work really, really well, and I hope that it'll also work really well for you. One of the things too that you'll notice about this bubbleless mirror vinyl is that the back is kind of textured, and that's what really helps keep those bubbles away. Now let's go ahead over to the machine. We'll get this all cut out, and then we are going to be ready to apply this to our mug, and you're going to see how easy this is to do. We're going to be using Teckwrap bubbleless mirror vinyl, and this stuff is gorgeous. So I did some test cutting and trying some different things. I actually tried to make a bubble and I couldn't. So we're going to cut 4 different colors for this design, and I'm going to show you how to use it. So I cut mine on the vinyl setting, and one thing that I love is that the back is gridded, so it makes it super easy for me to cut a nice straight line across so that I don't have to put the whole roll onto my mat. Now this is definitely too big of a piece, but I wanted a straight line across, and this piece will do just fine. Now with their vinyl, many of it comes with a protective layer, so you'll want to make sure that you remove that. It's just like a clear film, and it's super easy to remove. You just sort of take your pin pen and find that first really thin layer. Now I know I'm not making it look like it's super easy. I have had a rough day getting it off. There we go. So you'll see that you have a clear layer here, and see, it's really hard to see because obviously it's clear, but this is what you need to make sure you remove before you cut. And then you can just place your vinyl onto your mat. I'm just using a standard grip mat, works great. Like I said, this piece is gonna be a little too big, but we'll save the parts that we don't use. I'm gonna load this into the machine, let it cut out, I'm gonna get all the other colors loaded. We're using 4 other colors. So I will show you all of those cutting and then we'll weed.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for rain.
Now, I want to point out, I totally forgot to remove the clear cover for this one. So don't worry if that happens to you. Just take it off, check the cut, and you can always just recut it. Just don't unload it from the machine. It didn't cut all the way through, so I was able to just remove the plastic and just hit the button again so that it would cut again.
Waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light. While we're dancing around the Christmas tree. Hugging and kissing, just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door. Lovely songs we all heard before. As they walk from house to house to wish us all.
One of the things that I like so much about this is how easy this is to weed. Now, I'm not going to cut the purple down because I'm really not going to use that small piece for anything, but I cut out a little purple star to go on top of the tree. So you can see how beautifully that cut that really small star. And then this is our back offset for our little tree. I just thought it would be fun to have like a different color on the back. And then we're going to do the main tree in this bright green, which is so pretty. And we're going to go ahead and get that weeded. You see how simple this is, and it just cuts on the regular vinyl setting. Now, I would recommend doing some test cuts on your own machine just to be sure, but I did some test cuts and vinyl worked great for me, so I would just recommend checking that out. So there we go. Everything's weeded. So now the fun part comes where we get to kind of stack everything and make it layered. So the first thing is this little star. I'm not going to bother using transfer tape on it. It's completely tiny and perfectly fine. So I'm just going to put it on to my tree just like that. I don't think I needed to use transfer tape. I'm just going to use this piece of medium tack transfer tape, and I'm going to start with my C. And you'll want to make sure that you grab a squeegee and just use that to burnish this down. And it sticks beautifully to the medium tack paper here, the transfer tape. And then I'm going to go ahead and place it right on top of my tree, kind of wherever I want it. I'm kind of using it as a little monogram. And then I'm going to go ahead and burnish that down. So now you see we have our 3 colors. So the last one we have to do is that back layer. And you can see I'm not really doing this slowly. I'm not really purposely, taking my time because I want to show you that this really doesn't bubble. So I'm going to lay this down, and you'll see I just sort of laid it down. I didn't really do anything extra special with it. I just kind of slapped it on there. And then I'm just going to kind of give it a little burnish just around where that C is, just to make sure everything stays down pretty well. And then again, we're going to peel this back off of our design, and we're going to put this on to a coffee mug just so you guys can really see how it looks. So I'm just using this coffee mug that I got. It's a sublimation mug, but it will work fine for vinyl. And then I'm just going to put our tree. And again, I'm not really doing anything super special to it. I'm just kind of setting it down, and I'm going to put it down onto our mug. And then I'm going to go ahead and burnish. I want to burnish this down pretty well just to make sure that I get anything that might be loose down. And then I'm going to go ahead and peel my transfer tape. Now you will see a little bit of an edge from where the C sits, but otherwise I think it looks pretty good. The C is going to sit a little bit weird, like where there's a couple layers. You're never really going to be able to avoid that regardless of what vinyl you use, but you can see it came out really, really beautiful. I'll get you guys a much up closer view. Here is the finished mug. I think it came out really, really great. This Teckwrap bubbleless mirror vinyl is so easy to work with, and I absolutely love it. I would highly recommend this product, especially if you're looking for something with a beautiful mirror shine. I tried to make it bubble. You will see there's a little dent where that C is. That was my own fault. I stabbed it with the pin pen by accident. But that is not a bubble. That was me accidentally stabbing it, putting my pin pen away. If you have any questions about this or any other amazing crafts, please let me know in those comments down below. I hope you guys had a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting!